Gardeners who bury one soaked empty toilet paper roll in the planting hole can build a root runway in 60 seconds, using the same compost biology that feeds a forest, turning a weak, circling transplant into a deep feeding machine without buying one more bottle of corporate root booster. And the most insulting part is this. The thing you've been throwing in the trash is often more useful to a young plant than half the shiny products sitting in the garden aisle. You know the old routine. You dig the hole, you drop in the seedling, you water it like you're apologizing to it. Then 3 days later, the leaves droop, the stem looks tired, the soil crusts over, and the plant just sits there like it's thinking about dying. So you buy another bag, another bottle, another miracle tonic. Your knees are muddy, your hands smell like fertilizer, your wallet is lighter, and somehow the roots still look like a pale little knot trapped in the shape of the plastic cell it came from. The goal today is not to feed the plant like it's a pet goldfish. The goal is bigger. We are going to change the architecture of the underground battlefield. We are going to give that transplant a damp, dark, breathable tunnel that pulls roots downward, invites microbes in, holds moisture where roots actually need it, and slowly disappears into the soil like it was never there. People call it 10 times better roots, because when you pull two plants side by side, one planted normally and one planted with this stack, the difference can look ridiculous. More white feeder roots, deeper anchoring, less sulking, and a plant that acts like it owns the bed. Now meet the villain, the garden industrial complex. Not one evil man in a black suit, but an entire aisle designed to convince you that soil is dead dirt, and every problem must be solved by buying something with a bright label. Transplant shock? Buy tonic. Weak roots? Buy root stimulator. Dry soil? Buy moisture crystals. Bad soil? Buy a new bag of imported mystery fluff. The business model is beautiful if you're the seller, because it turns every gardener into a repeat customer. But roots do not read labels. Roots are not impressed by plastic bottles. Roots respond to moisture, oxygen, temperature, structure, living microbes, and the tiny chemical signals in soil that say, "Come this way. There is food here." That is the hidden crime of the modern planting hole. We were taught to dig a neat little grave, drop the plant in, pat the soil flat, and hope. But in nature, roots almost never grow into sterile emptiness. They grow through old leaves, rotting stems, worm tunnels, fungal threads, dead roots, crumbly humus, and little pockets of air and water. A forest does not buy root booster. A forest uses trash. Leaves fall, sticks rot, fungi arrive, worms chew. The dead becomes a highway for the living. Your empty toilet paper roll is not magic. It is a small, cheap imitation of the forest floor. Over a century ago, Sir Albert Howard saw this truth while working in India. The official agricultural world was falling in love with the clean, simple religion of chemicals. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. NPK. 3 letters that made soil seem like a vending machine. But Howard watched traditional farmers do something the experts treated like peasant nonsense. They returned crop waste, manure, bedding, leaves, and rough organic matter back to the earth. They built compost not as decoration, but as a living engine. In the heat and dust, while laboratory men chased formulas, Howard knelt beside compost heaps and saw the real machine. Fungi, bacteria, worms, and roots cooperating in a dark economy no factory could fully counterfeit. He was mocked by people who wanted farming to be clean, measurable, and profitable to supply. Compost looked dirty. Organic matter looked primitive. Returning waste to soil looked slow. But the crops answered. Healthier plants, better structure, fewer mysterious failures, stronger resilience. Howard's rebellion became one of the foundations of organic farming because he exposed the lie. Fertility is not just what you pour in. Fertility is what the soil becomes when life is allowed to build structure. And that is exactly why a toilet paper roll matters. It is cellulose, a carbon skeleton. To microbes, that cardboard tube is not garbage. It is a slow-release construction site. So here is the shift. Stop seeing the planting hole as a container. See it as a launch chamber. The seedling is not just sitting there waiting for food. It is searching. Every root tip is like a blind explorer, touching the dark, tasting moisture, sensing minerals, avoiding rot, chasing oxygen. When you bury a plain cardboard tube correctly, you are planting a signal. You are saying to the roots, "Go down here, Follow this damp path, meet the microbes, branch, anchor, survive. Now build the weapon. Start with the right roll. You want a plain cardboard toilet paper tube. No glossy coating, no perfume, no colored ink, no plastic lining, no weird scented craft paper. If you garden under strict organic certification, follow those rules and use approved plain cardboard only. If you live where termites are a serious problem near wooden structures, do not pack cardboard against your house foundation. Use this in vegetable beds, flower beds, and open garden soil where decomposition belongs. Do not bury it bone dry. A dry cardboard tube can steal water at the worst possible moment, like a sponge robbing a thirsty seedling. Drop it in a bucket for a few minutes until it darkens, softens, and bends without cracking. Squeeze it once so it is damp, not dripping like a soaked rag. That soaking does two things. First, it wakes up the fibers so they start wicking water. Second, it prevents the tube from becoming a dry barrier that roots hesitate to cross. Now give the roots doors. Slice one vertical seam from top to bottom. Do not make a cardboard prison. Poke holes with a pencil, a stick, or your finger every inch or so. The tube should still hold its shape, but it should look wounded, open, and easy to invade. Roots love weakness in organic matter. They exploit cracks, they follow seams, they push through soft places. Here is the master stack. Mix 2 handfuls of your native soil with 1 handful of finished compost or worm castings. Native soil matters because it introduces the local microbes your plant must actually live with. Compost matters because it adds biology and a small nutrient charge. If you have pre-charged biochar, add a teaspoon, not a fistful. Biochar is like a tiny apartment complex for microbes, but if it is raw and empty, it can temporarily hold nutrients away from plants. If you use mycorrhizal inoculant, dust it directly on the root ball, not randomly in the hole. Those fungi need living roots to partner with, and do not waste it on brassicas like cabbage, kale, and broccoli. They usually do not form that partnership. Dig the planting hole twice as wide as the root ball, but not polished smooth like a clay bathtub. Rough up the sides with your fingers or a trowel so roots can break out. If the hole fills with water and sits like soup, stop. You do not have a root problem yet. You have a drainage problem. Cardboard in sour, airless mud can rot badly. Fix drainage first with compost, raised beds, or better soil structure. For small cell pack seedlings, stand the damp tube upright in the hole. Put a little of the soil compost mix in the bottom. Set the seedling so the lower roots touch the inside edge of the tube, and leave the top rim slightly above the soil like a tiny collar. That collar can help block cutworms, those night criminals that chew young stems at soil level. For larger transplants with root balls too wide for the tube, use the tube as a sidecar. Press it against the root ball, slightly angled downward, fill it with your soil compost mix, and backfill around everything. The key rule is this: never leave a hollow air cave directly under the roots. Empty roll means empty of toilet paper, not empty of soil. Plant at the correct depth. Tomatoes can be buried deeper because they can root along the stem. Peppers prefer respect. Do not bury them like tomatoes. Cucumbers, squash, melons, basil, marigolds, and most flowers want their crown near the original soil line. Firm the backfill with your hands, not your boots. You are removing big air pockets, not making bricks. Then water slowly. First water around the plant. Let the soil settle. Then water into the tube area so the cardboard becomes a downward wick. Finish with mulch, but keep mulch pulled back from the stem so the crown can breathe. Now the science, without the textbook fog. Cardboard is mostly cellulose. Cellulose is basically long chains of sugar locked together like a rope. Your plant is not eating the cardboard directly. The microbes are. Bacteria and fungi bring chemical scissors, cut that rope into smaller pieces, and turn dead carbon into microbial bodies, sticky soil glues, and eventually humus. Humus is not just dirt. It is the dark, crumbly memory of living things, and it holds water and nutrients like a pantry with 1,000 shelves. But what about the famous warning that cardboard steals nitrogen? That warning is half true, which is why it scares people. Microbes need nitrogen to digest high-carbon materials. If you bury a mountain of cardboard around starving plants, yes, microbes can borrow nitrogen from the soil surface and cause yellowing. But one small soaked tube, mixed with compost and native soil, is not a buried mattress. It is a controlled carbon signal. You are not smothering the bed. You are installing a temporary root scaffold. The tube also works physically. Cardboard fibers wick water through tiny capillaries, like thousands of microscopic straws. Roots sense moisture gradients. They do not think, but they respond. When the tube stays slightly damper than the surrounding compacted soil, root tips move toward it. As the cardboard softens, roots punch through the holes and seams, then branch. Those branches create more feeder roots, and feeder roots are the real feeding army, not the thick roots, the tiny white hairs. That is where water and minerals enter. Then the underground accomplices arrive. Fungal threads creep over the cardboard. Worms investigate the soft carbon. Bacteria multiply on the compost charge. The tube becomes a meeting place. Air, water, carbon, minerals, and roots, all touching in one narrow zone. That is why this can outperform a clean hole. A clean hole is just absence. This is habitat. There are rules. Do not use this trick for carrots, parsnips, or long root crops where a tube can deform the root. Do not stuff hot synthetic fertilizer in the roll. Salts can burn tender roots. Do not use fresh manure. It can be too strong and biologically chaotic. Do not bury 5 rolls under one tiny plant and call it science. 1 tube is a signal. 10 tubes is a landfill. In containers, use a smaller piece, because pots already hold moisture differently, and cardboard can stay too wet if you overwater. Now prove it. Because rebels do not need blind faith. Plant 6 identical seedlings of the same variety. 3 get the normal hole. 3 get the toilet roll root chimney. Label them. Same bed, same sun, same watering. On planting day, record height, leaf count, and stem thickness. After 7 days, note which plants wilt first in afternoon heat. After 14 days, do the gentle tug test, not ripping the plant out, just feeling resistance, stronger roots grip. At 30 days, sacrifice 1 test plant from each group if you can handle the pain, or wait until season's end. Loosen the soil wide, lift the root ball, rinse it gently in a bucket, and lay it on a dark surface with a ruler. Count white root tips in one small section. Measure the deepest root. If you have a kitchen scale, blot the roots and weigh them. Look for roots growing through the softened cardboard, dark crumbly soil, worm channels, and an earthy smell. If it smells sour and rotten, your soil stayed too wet. That is not failure, that is data. This is how you silence the neighbor who laughs at you for burying bathroom trash under tomatoes. You do not argue, you show the roots. Roots are receipts. Roots are the underground truth the plant cannot fake. And this is bigger than a toilet paper roll. Every garden season, the system trains you to believe resilience comes from a shelf. But the old rebels knew resilience comes from cycles: waste to carbon, carbon to microbes, microbes to soil, soil to roots, roots to food, food to freedom. The empty roll is a symbol. It says you are no longer a customer waiting for rescue. You are a builder of living systems. Subscribe, and never let the garden aisle sell you what your soil can build from trash.